Hello. This is going to be a little POE diary thing. It hasn't exactly been one day. It's been a little bit more than that. But I've been too busy playing, having fun. Quick side note. Thank you for everyone who's recently subscribed. I've been in kind of the mood to just throw up random videos here and there. So one of the ones that was most recent was Destiny, but I'm also a PoE 2 fan. I like playing summoner builds, and I like playing damage over time builds. So going into point 3, we didn't really have a skill tree to figure out what was new and plan to build out before it came out. So we kind of had to just go with the flow, and for the most part, previous builds are 1-to-1 with how they play. But there are new mechanics in the way of support gems and some changes to the skill tree. For me, I like playing with brutes. I've found them to be kind of enjoyable in point 2. I like their little bone shatter thing. I like being able to see them AOE clear, because minions have, at least in PoE 2, been fairly decent at single target, but oftentimes you're trying to figure out ways to do AoE clear. But usually what happens, at least in PoE 1, is they kind of marry together. So you have boss damage and AoE clear, but it's just all in one minion. But PoE 2, it's kind of a hodge of you're trying to balance both. At least with how they've designed minions, you're having to like build your army in a specific way. I'll try to keep this short, just to kind of explain what I did, and then I'll show quick gameplay, go over gems. First, I'll just do quick gameplay, then I'll go into how I progress on the skill tree, gear, gems, all that. So, it's a quick little demo. Go ahead to town real quick. So going into the update, I did see on PoE Ninja they updated skill tree, so I took a look. there's actually quite a few nodes revolving around command skills. This little cluster was added where you have increased minion damage, some actually pretty helpful attack and cast speed. This is completely new. But then you have increased damage with command skills, increased cooldown recovery with command skills, and then even more damage depending on how many different persistent minions you have while in your presence. So I was thinking that with the change to brutes, where they do the war cry, and then this war cry will detonate the Frost Mage Ice Armor. That went kind of okay. AOE Clear was fine. Single target was kind of okay, especially if all of the minions clumped up onto the boss, because each individual minion is getting an individual shatter. I personally don't know if this ice armor actually lingers after the frozen is consumed. If it does linger, then this is actually a pretty decent damage resist buff. If it doesn't linger, kind of sinks. But I feel like if you're detonating this constantly, you're doing it for the damage anyways, not so much for the reduced damage taken. So I ran with that for a while. And then eventually, once I got higher support gems, I happened to come across this. So in this update, they made different tiers of support gems. Not all go up to 3, 4, 5 in ranking. But however, with Sacraficial Lamb, before, it did this. So if you put it on Skeletal Warriors, if I press my offering, it's always going to target them. It's not going to worry about these guys unless if there's literally no other warriors around, which is impossible because of the clerics. However, there's a new line in here where minions created by support skills are always considered to be detonatable. So these Skeletal Arsonists, it no longer matters what health threshold that they're at. I can just keep detonating them at full HP. This actually felt pretty nice. And after I started to play around with this, which was around Act 4 start, I was using this primarily between brutes and this, which it actually feels a lot less clunky because I'm now running around pressing this, and I still at least have the AOE taunt just in case. So quickly, let me go over the rest of the gems. Because these guys are dying on respawn, I have Death March, so I'm healing all of the other minions and removing ailments constantly. So just nice little defensive layer there. Hulking minions, this used to have a flat spirit tag associated with it, but I believe this is now just a percentage and it's baked in to this keyword. So keyword is gigantic minions have more maximum life, more damage, increased size. Important to note, this is also on the tree. However, this node does come with the downside of reduced reservation efficiency. But on the way there, you do get life and damage. For my brutes, I have increased attack speed, heft, magnified area. I am using impact shockwave. I find this to be better with clear. You can use heavy swing. Probably use that for straight pinnacle bosses. But for running around doing maps, this feels infinitely better. For Arsonists, I have magnified area, muster. So this is 35% more damage. Bidding number 2. So increased cooldown reduction, increased or more damage on command skills. You can use bidding 3 if you really want the increased CDR. So then you only use one of these and summon more of these. I just think it's personal preference. I like having 2. And then I have Feeding Frenzy 2. Skeletal Cleric, traditional. meat shield, last gasp, rapid casting. I have skeleton sniper. I wanted to be able to increase the rate at which enemies are having their armor being removed. So I have armor demolisher, corrosion, bidding number 1. I can put up bidding number 2. I'm just lazy. But this is new. So not only does the poison last longer, the poison also gives less cooldown recovery rate on enemies. This is similar to the Witch Hunter Ascendancy. It's that middle column for concentration. So if bosses are using less abilities against me, kind of sick. And then this ground surfaces created basically can't be destroyed except for when the poison expires. So I can detonate these guys as much as I want. Poison's not going away. I'm using this poison only for armor removal. And the poison does kind of help. Pain offering. I have meat shield, increased duration for now. Ellie weakness, mostly just for bosses. I do have focus curse. You can do whatever. Just in case there's a random cringe enemy that has incredible life regen, I do have contagion with acrimony. You don't necessarily need this at all. I just have it for one-off scenarios. Quick little gear breakdown. I happened to find this on the market for 5 exalts yesterday. This is an insanely cracked scepter. I happened to abyssal craft this increased spirit, which it high rolled. It has +2 to minions, increased damage, attack speed. I don't know when I'm getting rid of this. Level of minions, helmet, spirit neck, shield to keep me alive, ring to keep me alive, ring with attributes because I'm not really pathing around to get int yet, also to keep me alive, gloves to keep me alive, chest to keep me alive with some spirit, dog shit belt. I should get rid of this. I'm using these boots for now, although it is important to note that I will eventually try to use these. These have always existed in the game, but in this patch for 0.3, they got the movement speed. And that's kind of pushed it over the tipping edge of actually being usable. So with this increased reservation efficiency, I will probably get one more of these, just so I have more available to detonate. Maybe 2 brutes if I can afford it, and a cleric. Probably what I'm going for. And onto the tree. So starting off, I just blitzed up through here. I went up to here. I leveled with Contagion, Essence Drain for single target, Unearth, Skeletal Archers, and Skeletal Warriors. That basically carried me all the way through the axe. If you want to follow my build, you can probably get this online in Act 4, I believe. Basically, whenever you can get Sacraficial Lamb 2. After I got this, I went up to here. I got revive speed because I don't want to wait around on a boss for my minions to come back. They changed these 2 for stun build-up, but I'm getting these anyways for brutes. Minions have armor break. Just quality of life. I went up here. Got this node. I went up to here. Presence. Spirit. I went up for reservation. I went back down. I went over here. I picked up presence first. Then I went into all of these clusters. But you can change these around. I went back up here for increased AOE. This was around the Act 4, mid-Act 4, where I wanted more AOE in my build. I went in over here, picked up file mending, got this minion damage. I got these minion resistance. These did get buffed, where it does have maximum resistances now on all three. I don't know if I'm going to be pathing over here or pathing over here for minion resistances. Because it would be just a lot of points. I already invested a lot over here, so I don't think I'm going to be doing that. For jewels, probably want things that give minion damage, minion attack, cast speed, the tradish. I have this in here just for presence AoE. On the tree, for Ascendancy, I went this first. Then I went for Unholy Might. You probably can do Infernalist. You would just get more minions to play around with. And on top of that, you'd have a little bit more defensive value. But then you would also have a companion. Although the companion would detonate, or it wouldn't detonate that. I'm already thinking about the previous patch without the support gem. I just chose Lich because I was like, initially, I'm going to be detonating things constantly, so getting more added damage to those detonations sounds good. Still feels good, so I don't think I'm going to be switching, but if you want to change it up, more than welcome to do that. As a caveat, I'll make a note here. With this node, because this relies on presence, getting increased presence everywhere, in my opinion, is super important. But even without this, it's important just because of this alone. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to pin this guy. I'm going to do this. So in the early game, when you're walking around, you're not going to have a lot of presence to work with. And your presence radius is basically going to be around this circle. Mostly, when you're playing around with minions, they're over here, right? They're attacking shit. You don't want to get hit. So, basically, your scepter is useless. Except if it has plus to levels. So, for myself, I like having increased AoE for presence because I just want to make sure my minions are doing the most damage that they can, while being as far away from shit as possible. So for me, this is my presence AoE. So it's kind of almost screen wide, but I can position myself close enough where they're still kind of in this range. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be picking up this to get, like 50% increased presence AoE. Can't get enough of it. I think it's goated. I probably might get it on my scepter just to have the ease of mind that my guys are still doing all the damage that they can while I'm like a screen away, I started off in hardcore, but I died in Ultimatum Trial Night 2, but I was going to die either way Night 4 because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But if you want to do a hardcore version of this, I honestly think you don't really need this cluster here. You can probably get rid of these AoE nodes. You could maybe get rid of these presence nodes here, and then just put those points into defensive values. But because I rolled over to standard, I'm worrying about defensive later, and I just want to blast. It's almost 20 minutes, but quick little video diary of pseudo day 1, 24 hours plus. But yeah, thanks for recent. I can't even talk. It's 2 a.m. Thanks for the recent subs. Appreciate it. And I might not be Destiny related content, but I feel like I'm in the headspace of just uploading whatever I want. And right now it's POE 2. See you guys later.